Welcome to the Just Because Diaries, where real life meets random chats and plenty of mom moments, all while reclaiming the joy in the seemingly mundane. I'm Celeste, a mom, but also a whole ass person, navigating the balance of motherhood while rediscovering the joy in doing things just for myself. From the chaos of parenting to the little moments that make life fun, nothing is off limits. So grab a cup of coffee or something stronger and let's get into it. In today's episode, we are diving into holiday decor that makes a big impact and brings all the dopamine with very little spending, plus a Just Because moment sharing my first sourdough attempt, and a Just Because book club update. Well, the holidays are officially upon us, and I, personally, could not be more excited. Christmas in the O'Hara household starts promptly on November 1st. Yes, we are 100% those people, and no, I don't care if you hate that. We put away all of our Halloween decor, and then we grab our Christmas tree and all of our other gear, and we just get straight to work. David actually lovingly refers to our house as Santa's grotto because I go all out with the decor, especially on the inside. And it's not some beautiful, aesthetically pleasing decor situation going on over here. My Christmas decor style is maximalist, and it is chaotic, honestly. It looks like Christmas threw up all over my house in every color imaginable because I have multicolored lights everywhere. There are things hanging on windows, and my mantle is so full of garlands and lights and figurines that I could not possibly put anything else on there. It is maxed out on space. I've collected all of this decor over many years, and I keep using every bit of it every single year. The next year I might get a little more, and then that is just added to the collection, and on it goes until I am on an episode of Hoarders. And I get it. It is a lot, but it brings me immense joy. And actually, I recently discovered what dopamine decor is, and that is literally what my house is at Christmas time. It is pure dopamine. If you've never heard of dopamine decor, let me Google it for you real quick. Okay, according to Legoogs, dopamine decor is an interior design philosophy that creates joyful, energetic, and emotionally uplifting spaces by using elements like bright colors, bold patterns, and diverse textures. The trend is named after dopamine, the brain's feel-good neurotransmitter, and aims to boost mental health and happiness through personalized and visually stimulating surroundings. It often incorporates personal items, playful shapes, and a mix of new and vintage or upcycled pieces. Well, if there were ever a time for dopamine decor, I think that is the holidays. And I'm here to help you deck your halls with as much dopamine as you want without having to spend a fortune. In fact, I have 3 DIY ideas and 1 way you can even get free, yes, I said free, items during the holidays and throughout the year beyond the holidays. I am all for decking out your home, every inch of it if you want, with all of the holiday decor, but I'm also all about doing it on a budget. So let's start with our DIY projects. Honestly, I feel like DIYing your decor can be one of the easiest and cheapest ways to decorate a space in your home for the holidays, or even honestly any time of year, because you'd be surprised at the amount of things and supplies that you already have in your home that you could use to create other new amazing things. But I fully understand that not everyone is crafty or loves to craft or has the time to craft, but never fear, because I have a few ideas that aren't hard at all, and they require very few materials and little to no money. Plus, bonus, they can even involve your kids if you want. First up is something I just learned about on Instagram that gave me instant hygge vibes, which I'm so sorry if I am grossly mispronouncing that word. But it did. It gave me that cozy hygge vibe. And if you don't know what hygge is, in very basic terms, it is a Danish concept for feeling cozy. I think about it as that warm, fuzzy feeling you get around this time of year. That's kind of what I equate hygge to. But anyway, the reel was from Anne S. Olsen. Her handle is at Anne's.universe on Instagram. And in the reel, Anne uses buttermilk, yes, actual liquid buttermilk, to paint on a window. I know. But hear me out for a second. All you do is you take the buttermilk and you literally just paint it on a window. And then as the buttermilk dries, it turns white and it looks like you've painted whatever scene you've created in beautiful white paint. And it actually looks really beautiful in her reel. But I know what you're thinking, because I was absolutely thinking it too. Wouldn't that smell? So, at the risk of stinking out my own home, I decided to give it a go for you, dear listeners, because I had some leftover buttermilk in the fridge and I thought, well, why not? And do I have good news for you? It has been 5 whole days since I painted my glass door with buttermilk and it does not stink, not even a little bit. And it was actually super fun to do. It was kind of weird at first, but once I got past the fact that I was painting with milk, it was actually really enjoyable and calming and relaxing, and I really loved doing it. Now, I will say that mine did not turn out as white as Anne's did, but I realized that the buttermilk I had was reduced fat, and I don't know if maybe that's why. I still loved the way it turned out, but mine ended up looking more like etched glass, kind of like that fogged glass look. And I'm wondering if maybe if I would have used a full fat buttermilk, if that would give more of the painted look. Or maybe if you have powdered buttermilk, then you could just not dilute it so much to make it thicker. I don't know. Maybe that would work, maybe it wouldn't work. But if you decide to try one of those methods, let me know what your result is, because I am super curious now. Anyway, if you are making some biscuits or waffles or whatever, and you find yourself with some extra buttermilk on your hands, maybe grab yourself a paintbrush and whack it on a window. Or get your kids to, because this would be so much fun for them to do. I personally did not involve my kids in my test run because I was not sure how it was going to go down. I was a little bit nervous, but it was truly so easy and absolutely kid-friendly. Kids would love this project. And you don't need a ton of buttermilk to do this either. I used maybe 1/4 cup to paint my entire door. And you also don't want your brush to be too soaked in the buttermilk either, because then it'll just run everywhere and nobody wants that. So truly, a little bit does go a really long way with this project. I also learned a couple of other things from my little buttermilk escapade that I wanted to share. For one, it does not layer, or at least mine didn't, because like I said, mine kind of looked fogged or etched glass looking. I thought that maybe after it dried, I could go over it again to make it darker, like you would do with actual paint if you were painting something, but it does not work that way. So don't bother trying. And also, hot tip if you have pets, maybe keep them away from your painting while you are doing it or while it's drying, because my dog discovered my absolute masterpiece after I stepped away to go rinse a brush, and when I came back, I found her licking it all. So that was not ideal, but now you know, so you can save your own masterpiece from your beloved pet. And just another little note to add to this already really cool idea, the end result looks really pretty on its own, but I feel like if you painted a window where you could also hang some white lights, I just feel like that would be so pretty. I did not do that on mine because I painted on my glass door, so I can't do that. But if you do decide to try that, please tag me in your photos, because I would love to see how that turns out. And I will also post pictures of my buttermilk painting to my Instagram account at the Just Because Diaries. So head over there if you want to see how it turned out. The next idea comes from a TikTok video that one of my best friends sent me. The video is from Anna Stevens, and her TikTok handle is ann.banan with 3 N's. And in her video, Anne makes these amazing garlands completely out of just paper and ribbon. And she makes these really big 8-pointed stars out of different colored paper, and then she strings them onto a ribbon, and she hangs them up on her ceiling in random kind of order so that they all cascade down, and it looks super gorgeous and really gives that kind of like whimsical vibe. And she also makes a giant paper chain garland. Now that one took me straight back to being a kid. I completely forgot these existed. And I don't know if any of you made these in school, but I definitely did. And like I said, I completely forgot about them, but they're actually so easy to make. And when I saw that in her video, I thought, duh, of course, this would be amazing. You can make them in any color combo you want with whatever colored paper you have on hand, or you could even use basic white printer paper. And I thought maybe you could have your kids draw on the sheets. They can color, draw, whatever they want. So then you have your own unique design. But whatever paper you use to make them, it's super simple. You just cut your paper into thirds, and then you take one of those thirds, one strip, and you fold it so that the short ends touch. It'll make a loop. And then you just secure it to itself using a stapler or glue or double-sided tape, whatever you have on hand. And then that's one loop done. Then to make the next loop, you take another piece of paper, you loop it through the middle of your first loop, attach that to itself, and on and on and on and on until you get your desired length. It's super cute, really kid-friendly, really inexpensive, or even free if you already have the paper. And you could save it year after year. Just be really careful when you store it to make sure that it doesn't get all smashed underneath all of your other decor items. Last up in our DIY roundup, this one is for those of you who just could give two craps about crafting, but you still love a little DIY magic. So this one comes from Scary Mommy on Instagram. In Scary Mommy's reel, they shared a video of a parent who took strings and strings of colored lights, and then they strung them along all of the baseboards and door frames of every door in a hallway in their home. It is so bright and beautiful and nostalgic. And when I saw the video, I knew immediately that I wanted to do this in my home. So I did. I recreated this for my kids in our upstairs hallway. And it really is truly magical. I don't know what it is about Christmas lights that give me the warm, fuzzy feeling, but seeing these lights every night, all lit up and bright, it brings me so much joy, and hopefully it brings the rest of my family joy. I think it does, because I know Miles really loves it a lot. The first thing he does in the morning, every single morning since I put them up, is turn the lights on. And then we wait for him to go to school and we turn them off because, we don't need to be racking up our electricity bill. And if you already have lights available, this is super easy to create. But I did buy lights to make this happen in my house. I ran out. So I got my lights from Walmart because, in my experience, Walmart has the most inexpensive string lights. And I also got a pack of command hooks from Costco because they were on sale. And you don't have to use command hooks by any means. Painter's tape or something else that would be safe on your walls and not strip your paint would be totally fine. But I knew that I was going to love this so much, and I fully intend on repeating this year after year. So I invested in a pack of hooks because that made sense for me. Altogether, with the lights and the hooks, I spent $32 to light up my hallway. The whole installation process of attaching the hooks and then stringing the lights took me about 45 minutes to do by myself. It was really not hard to do. I just put on an audiobook and got to work, and that was it. Wasn't too bad at all. And if you're wondering how I figured out how many lights I needed, I just literally measured every single baseboard and door frame in the space. And then I added all that up to get a total amount of feet. And then I figured out what size string lights I needed and how many based off how many feet I needed to cover, how many feet the lights were, all that good stuff. So there is definitely a little bit of math involved. But the planning and the little work involved to get it all set up and going is completely worth it, in my opinion, because the end result is just so cozy and beautiful and whimsical. And now my hallway is my favorite place in my entire house. So there's that. Oh, and while we are talking about string lights, if you're planning to do this magical hallway setup with your own lights, or if you're just going to be using lights in general around the house this season, something I just learned, which has been super helpful, is how to rescue quote unquote dead lights. This year, after literal years of replacing one bulb at a time on a string until I found the one burnt out bulb, like a total psychopath, I just learned that you can actually use a voltage tester pen to find the dead bulb. You know, one of those little pen things that you use to test if a wire is live or not when you're installing a light or an outlet or whatever. One of those. That's what you need. And all you do is you plug in your lights and you turn on your little tester pen, and then you start tapping the base of the light bulbs on the string. So you're going to tap the little green bit that's at the base of where the glass bulb part ends. It's the part that you would hold if you were going to replace your bulb. So you would hold onto the bulb and pull that out. You would hold the base in your other hand, that's the part that you're going to be tapping. So just cover the wires with your fingers or your hand and just tap that base. And if your pen beeps, then that means there's power going to it and that bulb is not your dead bulb. So just keep tapping along the string until you find one that does not beep and then replace that one and boom, your lights will work again. No need to mess around with those like really gimmicky bulb replacement tools that I have purchased over and over throughout the years and never seem to actually work. Just use the voltage pen that you might already even have in your toolbox. And if you don't have one and you would like to, they are around $15 or so, and they have multiple uses beyond just rescuing your string lights. So yeah, might be worth considering. All right, DIY projects aside, how can you get cheap or free stuff to decorate your space? Well, I'm glad you asked. There are always my go-tos like thrift stores or Facebook Marketplace to search for local listings, or eBay if you're looking for things for cheap, especially if you're looking for vintage or discontinued items. eBay is a great place to go. And then there are estate sales or online estate auctions, which I feel like don't really come to mind a lot when it comes to deal hunting for things. But estate sales and online estate auctions can be complete gold mines for deals. So don't skip on those. They're definitely worth looking into. But the big one I want to share, and my personal favorite way to upcycle, reduce waste, and to find items during the holidays and honestly all year long without spending any money whatsoever, is through my local Buy Nothing group or Gifting with Integrity group. Buy Nothing and Gifting with Integrity are two separate entities, but they work more or less the same in that people can ask for items or give items away. But either way, it's always free and there is never any money exchange, ever. Hence the name Buy Nothing. Typically, these groups are hyper local, so they will be within your immediate community, which is great because then you're giving back within your own area. But because they're hyper local, sometimes bigger cities might have several groups to keep them small. So you'll have to figure out which one you belong to based off of where you live. I participate in my Buy Nothing group on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, you can just do a quick search for either Buy Nothing in insert your city name here, or Gifting with Integrity in insert your city name here, and that'll hopefully help you find a group near you. If you are not on Facebook, Buy Nothing has a free app. It's called Buy Nothing, all one word, in the App Store. I don't use the app, but I did download it so I could tell you a little bit about it, and it's honestly pretty intuitive. It works very similarly to social media where you can like posts, you can save posts, you can comment on posts. So it's very intuitive that way. But what's different in the app from the Facebook group is that you have the option to see and post global listings is what they call it. It's not really global. It really seems like it's more just out of your state. It's beyond your immediate community. So that's different, but it seems really simple to use. So that's definitely a great option if you are not on Facebook. Anyway, once you're in a group or you've got the app, you can make a post asking for whatever you'd like. In the case of holiday decor, maybe your ask is for string lights or garlands or crafting supplies because you want to make one of the projects I mentioned. Or maybe you want to even ask for buttermilk. You can ask for anything that comes to mind, even if it's not holiday related, like food, clothing, toys for your kids, etc. But within reason. If you're going to be asking for a new iPhone or something crazy like that, it is super doubtful that you're actually going to get one. So just keep that in mind. But I have asked for things like a butter dish after I dropped mine and it shattered everywhere, or actually the lap desk that I used to write my notes for this podcast. That was gifted to me from my Buy Nothing group. And I've definitely had asks for my kids before too, which is really helpful. And then on the other side, if you have things to give away, you can either make a post offering to give those things away, or you can search within the group for people who might be specifically looking for the items that you're giving away. These groups can be such incredible communities, and the wonderful thing about them is that they are totally something that you can use all year long. I mean, I know I do. I'm constantly in my group. I'm either giving things away or asking for things. I love it so much, and it is such a wonderful community, and I truly cannot say enough good things about it. But keep in mind that while my group is amazing and helpful, that might not be the case for all groups. They're not all the same. So check yours out and feel them out and see what you think. And remember that Buy Nothing and Gifting with Integrity are two separate groups, so make sure you look them both up. And that's it. That's all I've got. I hope this was helpful and that you can now confidently go forth and deck your halls with all the dopamine you desire without spending a fortune. For this episode's Just Because moment, I decided I would finally try my hand at making a sourdough loaf. This is something I have wanted to do for literally forever, but I have just been super afraid of it. I find it so intimidating, and I have never been bold enough to give it a shot. But back in August, yes, August, forever ago, one of my best friends gave me some of her sourdough starter, and I have been lovingly nurturing it since then for months, but I never had the courage to actually try to make a loaf until last weekend. So I gave it a shot. I did the thing. And I made the loaf, and I even burnt myself in the process. And you know what? It was a complete failure. It was the worst. I have watched enough Great British Bake Off to know that my sourdough was stodgy as hell. It was awful. Honestly, I should have known that it wasn't going to go well when I checked my dough on the morning of my bake, and I saw that the rise didn't look quite right. But I persisted because we must persist. And then I burned myself, and that was not ideal. So after running my hand underwater for a million hours, I persisted some more. And then when it was done, I took it out only to find that my loaf, my beautiful loaf, was flatter than my own ass. It was so flat. But I put it on the counter for an hour to cool down anyway, because I was determined that I was still going to cut this thing up. So when the hour was up, I picked it up. I knocked on the bottom because that's what Prue and Paul do during bread week, even though I don't know why they do it or what it means. But I did it anyway, and then I cut it open just to see the spongy, stodgy inside. So sad. Did I eat it? Yes, of course I did. I still ate it. I put butter all over that thing and I still ate it. It didn't taste bad, but it was very, very chewy. So yeah, this week, sourdough did not bring me joy, but maybe it will in the future. I don't know. I'm not giving up. I refuse to let the sourdough beat me, and I'm definitely going to try again because honestly, it's really not that hard. And I mean, listen, I know that I failed, so maybe I'm not the right person to be saying that, but it really doesn't have that many steps involved. It just has a lot of time in between the steps. So eventually I'll try again. Maybe I'll even try this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. I will keep you posted. I also wanted to give a little bit of an update on the Just Because book club. As a reminder, we are reading Claws and Crochet by Lauren Connolly. And I figured so that we can have an actual book club, we have to have actual questions. So I put together some questions that I'm going to add to the show notes, and I will also post them on the Just Because Diaries Instagram for you to answer and to share your thoughts for our book club episode, which I think right now I have slated for December 10th. So head to the show notes after the episode or go to Instagram to check out those questions. And then you can either email them to me or DM me with your answers. And I'll be so happy to share them in our book club review episode. And speaking of future episodes, we will be chatting family traditions in an upcoming episode. And I would love to hear yours. Give me all of your heartwarming, your crazy, weird, creative family traditions. And email them to me, please, at thejustbecausediaries@gmail.com. And I will mention them in an upcoming episode as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Just Because Diaries. I would love to know if you decide to deck the halls with one of the DIY decor projects I talked about, or what you think about buy nothing groups. And definitely send me your favorite holiday family traditions. I cannot wait to read those. And shoot me an email anytime with any of your thoughts to thejustbecausediaries@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, and you may just be mentioned in a future episode. Also, give me a follow on Instagram at the Just Because Diaries. I will also be sharing my buttermilk masterpiece there, so keep an eye out for that as well. And finally, it would mean the world to me if you could please take a few seconds to rate and review my podcast by hitting that 5-star button and leaving me a little love note in the review section. And please share this episode with a friend that you think might enjoy being part of this budding community. Thank you so much again for listening. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye for now.